T.G.S.C Chronicles contains adult content and adult language. So please remove all children from the room. And if you are not in a private setting, meaning if your ass is at work or church or around some people you don't want to know that you on some freaky shit, please wear headphones. Welcome to the T.G.S.C Chronicles. On this podcast, we focus on alternative relationship styles, kinks, fetishes, as they relate to the black community and all people of color. So sit back and enjoy the show.
And welcome back to the T.G.S.C Chronicles. On this episode, we're going to be talking about, I guess you would call it a web show on YouTube called Compersion. It's by Enchant TV. And we're going to kind of break down the whole first season. It's 13 episodes. And they're only about 8-9 minutes apiece. And today, I got D, Lady T,
What up?
Penelope, M, and we're going to get it cracking. So, oh my God, I don't know why you're doing that. Hold on, I can fix that. Let me just turn that down. Nah, but I've kind of walked into that show. I don't even, like, it popped up in my recommended.
Oh.
It was actually a really good show.
Yeah, they were good quality.
The first episode, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to watch this whole thing. Yeah. So, does anybody know what the husband's name is?
Oh, man.
I don't think they ever did.
Because they really don't.
No.
Jason?
Start with a J.
They
What
made
was
it.
her name?
Jacob.
Jacob. And her name was?
Oh,
Something.
Key.
I don't know.
Keena.
Keena.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
Keena.
Jacob and Keena, a
Yeah.
married couple. They wake up one morning. She kind of drops a little thing about a couple that they're friends with, and they're getting a divorce because the husband cheated. And she kind of uses that as a vehicle to drop it on her husband that she's been thinking about trying polyamory and an open relationship. And he kind of just loses his shit.
She was prompting him.
Yeah. You know, she kind of baited the conversation open with that. To me, I don't really side with him through any of it.
Like the entire season.
Yeah,
The
I
whole
think he
season.
was.
Yeah,
I-
it was sloppy. It was sloppy.
I never
He's a
seen
dickhead.
him do.
Yeah.
The guy that Keena had a crush on, the teacher, and she ended up having a connection with, I felt like he handled the shit maturely all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was a straight up dude with his shit.
He should have beat that nigga's ass when he came in his crib though. That was foul.
Now I've had that.
That was foul.
And I've had that situation, and I've had to do the meet of a woman I'm dating with, her husband,
Pops
or
up.
her primary. No, like I go to her house.
I'm talking
and
about when
have
he
to-
popped up at the house.
Oh, his house.
Yeah, when he popped up at the
That
house.
I'd have beat his ass.
That's
for
what I'm
that.
saying. Like he had to.
He came and he's like,
Yeah, he
don't
should've-
mess
I'd
with
really
my
beat his ass
wife.
for that.
He should have really got beat the hell up. for
Wait a
that.
minute. Did he already meet the light-skinned chick before or after that?
Before.
Oh, he had met
'Cause
her
I
before.
think
He was
yeah,
begging her. He was begging her way before that.
that's what really upset me, to go have a conversation with this man, and you are cheating.
Yeah.
You are
He was
literally,
on his way.
Huh?
He was on his way to the girl's house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the way to the girl house and stopped
the
at the guy's
airport.
house first.
That's what fucked me up. But there was a scene when he was in the car, and he said, he was talking to Keena, and he said, yo, about this open marriage thing, you know, I think we need to talk about it. And she was like, it's over, blah, blah, blah. And the phone call kind of got rushed to end. I think right there at that point, he really should have called back. Like, he should have had the conversation right then and there.
Yeah, that was
You know what I mean? Like, he should have brought that shit out.
But she thought. I mean, she was under the impression that he was still like upset and kind of didn't want that form of relationship. But he was actually wanting to at that point, or at least like have a conversation. Basically, let her know that he was seeing somebody.
Yeah, because I think when he met the girl, that kind of woke him up to, because before then there was no possibility in his mind of loving his wife and having a connection with another woman.
Right.
Like, he didn't comprehend that at all. And I think when he met her and he felt the chemistry with her, he started to understand what I feel for this woman doesn't lessen what I feel for my wife. But instead of handling it correctly, he just fucked up.
So let's go from each character. Let's go character to character. So let's start off with the husband. From episode 1 to episode 13, there are 13 total episodes. How do
you got liner notes?
Just in my brain, but I'm looking at it so I could.
You gonna run it?
So I
run
can,
it.
So I can
Go ahead.
know
Lead.
exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna start with me personally. From episode 1 all the way to 13, just basically like how I felt about his whole actions and thought processes and things, and I'm gonna do it for each character, and then So for the husband, again, I think he started off a little sloppy. He basically kind of his wife wanted to have the conversation, and he wasn't like allowing her to speak and like have her turn to talk and whatnot. He kept like, what I say goes, and that's it, and blah blah blah. And then finally, when he did give her a chance to speak, he ended up, at a point in time, he did become like somewhat open. He let her go on the date and whatnot, but he was still kind of like really strict about it. I mean, I get like the terms and whatnot about like, oh yeah, be home at 12 and blah 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 and all that stuff. Like I understand that, but at the same time, he was definitely a little. I think he was personally a little hard on her. And then towards the end too, the end got a little back to the worst side where he was lying, was like behind the back with it, and it just didn't end well. It didn't end well on his part, and it didn't start well, honestly. So like for him, I think, I mean, he played a big role, obviously in the season, but yeah, I didn't like his behavior or anything like that.
Was there anything in him that you could identify with?
Yes, I think that that initial conversation. I think for me personally, when I got to when I get to the conversation, and when I start talk, that's kind of like how I am just as a person though. It's like for me to wanna like tell people my business and like tell people like how I live and tell people this and tell people that. There's usually like has to be like a barrier, and I mean that's probably for everybody, of course. Just has to be like a barrier to break down. But what I was saying that really connects with me though, at this moment of time, and I know I'm working on it, is just like basically like what I say goes. It's like really controlling, and I need to work on that personally. So in the beginning, when he was like saying like, "You want to do what? You want to have a poly relationship? Hell no, that's not happening." And then she was like, "But baby," he's like, "Nigga, that's not happening." That's kind of how I am too. So I definitely need to work on that. But then once we get to that conversation, and once it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can have that conversation, and all right, and blah 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 blah, then it works out after all. So yeah, I think
You want to go there? Or did you have more to say on?
I didn't have more to say on him personally or particularly, but I did have more to say on like the other characters and whatnot.
Flow with it.
So I think for the wife, I think the wife handled the. Okay, let me think. So in the beginning, she met the guy. She automatically told the boyfriend, wanted to bring it up. Towards the middle, she met with the. She handled it well. She had her boundaries and was in communication the entire time. Towards the end, she was upset about the mistress or the girlfriend, which she has right to. I think she played. I mean, with all things considered, to what I can think of, she played damn good job in it. Almost everything she did. I mean, she in the beginning again she communicated very well that she was, what she was interested in. She let him know that she was thinking about, before even taking action or before even like pursuing anything. She even said in the beginning part, she was like, I have been thinking about this and I just want to know what your opinion is and blah, blah, blah. And then once she got his opinion and kind of got her husband into terms with what she wanted, then she went ahead and took the action, and then she laid low after like it kind of didn't work out for the entire like the marriage, and then she got upset at the end as she should have been. The one thing I really don't like is that bathroom scene where he was like forcing her.
Yeah.
That shit, like, I'm controlling in the sense of like, I don't want to talk about something right now, or I don't want to do that, but like, I would never force somebody to do something. He's like, take this phone, call him now, say this right now. Like, that shit, that's extreme. I can never, like, I will say what I like. If you like it, then we both come into agreement with it. If you don't like it, nigga, chuck deuces. But to force somebody to do something, bro, that's foul.
Yeah, I do think that really kind of pissed me off too, like the physicality of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the physical threat.
Yeah.
Of like, nah, call that motherfucker right now.
Like
blah,
hovering
blah.
over her and everything. Yeah.
But that's why, like, it is hard for people coming in to the community and trying it, because you are automatically having to deal with emotions that you are not taught to deal with. You know what I mean? Just the concept of we're married and then we're going to be talking to other people. Some people, it is even hard to comprehend that, let alone assess how you feel, why you feel that way, and how to talk through that. You know what I mean? And one thing I did like about this, more than I've seen other, because like, there's a show called Me, You, and Her that they film out here in Portland. Like, it's a major TV show. You know what I mean? Like, stars, like regular Hollywood stars in the show. When that begins, it's the guy who seeks out another woman, right? And for the most part, anytime I do see like poly shown in the media or shown in movies and TV, when it's in the beginning, it's always the guy looking for something, right? I really like the fact that this started off with the wife being like, hey, look, this has been on my mind, and what it is for a woman to kind of navigate that first conversation. You know what I mean? And the husband, I just was pissed at him the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even using the kids. Like, when he shut her out, like, the day, I guess it was like the day after that first conversation, he didn't want to talk to her, and he started doing
tell your mom.
Mama,
Yeah,
ask your mom. She put gas in the car. Oh, tell your mom this. And you guys are 5 feet apart.
5
like,
feet apart.
putting the kids in that shit really fucking pissed me off.
Yeah.
You know. But did you have anything else?
The boyfriend. I think the boyfriend handled it well. I think the boyfriend, I mean, he I don't know how I would particularly feel about someone talking about wife like that, or talking about my wife in front of me like that, especially in my house. But I mean, he used good wording and whatnot to, like, he was pretty tactful.
Yeah.
With his wording, so it was pretty. I mean, I think that was good, and I mean, just kind of how he went about the whole situation in general. How he like, oh, you want me to stop talking to you? Okay, I'm gonna fall back and blah blah blah, and yeah, I think the boyfriend played a good part, and the girlfriend, that last part where she was like, oh baby, you at the airport? Oh yeah, okay. Airport, huh? All right.
And it was his birthday.
It was his birthday. With parents there, kids.
Even then, the fucking wife handled the shit good. Like, she didn't go in there and blow up the fucking family. She sat down. She got, she kind of took in her emotions.
Right.
Which is a scary thing because, a woman is prepping like, as soon as everybody leave, your ass is mine. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, she didn't blow up and create a scene with the family or anything. She kind of just, but that's how women do, like that kind of sink down into the minute, that thought process, that processing through why I'm upset, what am I feeling, and how much of a piece of shit you are is what's going on in that mind, But Tiff, you got anything? Any insights or?
Yeah, oh man, I also did like how the girl was the one who went out and kind of initiated that polyamory conversation, because as you were saying earlier, it's usually always the guy, but I liked how it was the girl, and it was kind of like empowering to like see her, initiate that conversation. And I really identified with her when, like, through those days when he was ignoring her and just kind of giving her this cold shoulder, and she was still being the bigger person. She was still doing things for him, like doing her part as his wife. And I could really identify with that, because I feel like there's a lot of times when like that comes up in like everyday situations when you just kind of have to like they're kind of putting you off, so you just kind of just keep it pushing. Pretty much, you just keep it pushing. And I really liked how she did that. I didn't like how she came at the boyfriend or the teacher at the school, and she was like pressing him about being flirtatious with that woman.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that.
I didn't like how she came at him. I understood though that she was feeling conflicted on the inside because she really didn't want to say those things on the phone to him. So I understood why she was being so frustrated, because it was really just her frustration with herself. But he still handled it pretty well. And yeah, she just had a mad attitude then. But I don't know. I feel like personally, he was going on all those business trips, and I'm like, I just knew when they was talking. I'm like, man, something's up. I just knew something was up.
Yeah, something was fishy.
Yeah, but I really liked how they kind of put her in power in the kind of like the first half of that season. She was really kind of like being the bigger person and leading things. And I thought that was super cool. I like that about her. The husband, yeah, I never liked him. He was no good. I did not like the way he acted in the beginning. He was being a little kid. He was way too hostile. There were times where I was like so uncomfortable even watching their interaction, because I was like, I knew if I was her in some of those situations, I would have totally shut down. Like, I wouldn't even want to talk to him.
Let me say this. I'm a dude, right? And it is very rare to where I'm around like other men and I feel a sense of I need to watch out. But as I was watching it so many times, I just expected violence. Like,
Yeah.
I expected him to like hit her, fight the dude, like just the way he was posturing, like his words, like just his tone. Even when he asked dude to bring him up, I want to meet him, I was just like, oh man. But he did way too much with that shit. But I thought it was gonna go bad. But I thought he was gonna hit her in the tub too.
I just felt like it was super vulnerable just for her being naked in a tub of water, and then him just like call him. Like, just the difference in just that without even talking, it's like this already in a vulnerable state.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I clearly remember when I was watching in the beginning how she like woke him up in the morning and was like, oh, I think we should do this today. and he just totally fucking ignored her and like kept it pushing. I was just that shit. I don't know. I just watched that and it just so pissed me off like so much. I wanted to like yell at him. I don't know. That was just like irked me. That I don't know. Just that specifically irked me. But yeah, the boyfriend. I mean, he kind of had like experience. It seemed like he kind of had experience with polyamory. Yeah.
And then too, being single coming into that is a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have no real investment yet in it. So if both of them are like, we're not cool with this, you're not really losing anything.
Yeah, so I totally thought the way he reacted after and just kind of doing his own thing, I mean, I felt like that was totally appropriate for him and she shouldn't have been tripping at all.
I didn't like, he was so dismissive of her, like, all the time, just always dismissing her. Like,
The husband?
Yeah, like, that just, like, it got under my skin, like,
Yeah.
I could have punched that nigga in his fucking face.
I felt that.
Like, just so dismissive, as if, like, her presence was like, whatever.
The boyfriend was treating her way better.
Yeah, like, Colt was super nice.
He almost was acting like the husband.
I think she should have upgraded. I mean, just like, to be honest, like, it just seemed like the husband, I don't think that was some new shit. Like, you could tell, like, this is his personality, like the way he get down. And watching her interact with the teacher, I'm like, yeah, you need to upgrade. You know, because it seemed like those relationships, like, the more that goes on, the more controlling he's going to get, but the more absent he's going to be. And that shit could go violent at any time. Because if you can really press up on your woman like that, because you, as a man, you know you're physically intimidating when you do that shit. So guys who do that shit, I really feel like it's a thin line between that and them fucking taking that swing. Anything else you had on that? Anything you identified with? Because so for all the listeners, M is just kind of now learning what polyamory is and kind of being involved in the conversation and questioning what things are. That's why I'm kind of asking, like, a little more deeply what her thoughts are and her opinions.
I guess I want to know why it was so hard for him to, like, hear what she said when she first brought up the thought of, like, yeah, we should try this. Like, he was so quick to, like, dismiss her and just, like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're not even going to try. Like, he acted as if she just told him that she cheated on him. Like, it was, I don't know, it was a lot to watch.
But that's how people take it. Like, the thought of, like, coming only from monogamy, the thought of how open relationships work is fucking mind-boggling to some people. You know what I mean? Like, I understood why he reacted the way he did. I didn't think it was appropriate. I didn't think it was cool, but I understood the why. You know what I mean? And especially, like, for a man, you know, your wife talked to you about some shit, like, first thing in the morning to you. That's like, where the fuck is this shit coming from? Like, it just seems so random and spontaneous because a lot of guys, I don't know, we function on, like, the day. Like, if you say some shit to me in the morning, like,
nigga, you was thinking
I haven't
night.
had enough of the day to go by to be like, oh, like, you thought about this shit. And it wasn't until later in the conversation where he was like, oh, this shit been on your mind for a minute. Like, you done thought this shit out.
Right.
And then he really fucking got upset. Like, but he kept going back to, and like most monogs do, like, they rap so much about love, loyalty, and connection around sex. Like, he kept going back to that. Oh, you just want to screw some dudes? And that kind of pissed me off too, man. Like, I fucking hate that word. And he kept using the word screw. I understand it's YouTube and you can't be like fuck, but he could have said smash. Like, that word screw really just kind of pissed me off. I know that's petty, but you know, he just kind of kept going back to that. Like, was there any aspect that you identified with in what character?
I would say the husband on how he initially reacted, I would have been like the same, like, no, nigga, we're not doing that. Like, the fuck did that thought come from? You know, like, is there something I'm not providing? Would have been like the first thought to my head.
You didn't identify with no other characters.
Not that I think about right now. Like,
I did.
like
You see yourself as the teacher, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I knew.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
That boy was suave. Oh, me, he had something to him. It was a little smooth.
Did you identify with anybody?
The wife.
The husband.
yeah, how he felt. Yeah,
I identified as the wife. You know what I mean? Like, I think I really identified with her communicating the openness. Because, you know, there was a part in that first initial conversation of like, yo, you need to stop thinking about this as me just going off fucking people. You know, this is a two-way street. These are just things I want to talk about. This is just a discussion. Like, you keep dismissing me. You don't even want to think about it at all. But like on podcasts that we had before when we talk about poly and shit, that's the situation I'm talking about, right? That is very different between poly relationship and monogamous relationships. When you verbalize, I think I want to see somebody else. I think I want to sleep with somebody else. I think I feel something for somebody else. The shit is over. Like, there's no get back beyond that. You know what I mean? And on the other podcasts that we've had, like, it's hard to articulate that moment. Like, we've all seen it. We all know that line exists, but people want to act like it doesn't exist. No, in a monogamous relationship, you can't be like, hey, I want to fuck somebody else. Hey, I want to see somebody else. That is the break of what monogamy is. Like, monogamy is explicit. There is nothing but me and you. That's why it's mono. You know what I mean? And that line right there, I feel, is very destructive to relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, open relationships don't mean that you just have all kind of partners and you fucking all kind of people. To me, open relationship or poly relationships more mean we will create the boundaries and the rules to our relationship, how it works best for us. You know what I mean? Whereas to me, monogamy translates in, this is a style of relationship and these are the rules that go with it, and you need to follow these rules that go with it. And if you step outside these rules, this is over. You know what I mean? And you kind of see.
That's actually a really
in this
good
show.
definition. I like that.
Yeah, like you kind of see in this show, like his mind state of, no, like, nigga, you want to fuck somebody else, like, nigga, our whole family is over. Like, it was very hard for him to conceptualize that it was just even a conversation. Like, you can see the impending doom on him of, oh, nigga, everything is over. Like, you never really loved me, or everything is a lie. It just is, everything has dissolved. You can kind of see that in him, and you can watch the reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think if when he met the teacher, if he would have thought, if he could have thought he could have beat him up, I think it would have went violent. I think he looked at dude and went, yeah, I don't want that smoke. You know what I mean? Because if you watch like how he acted, oh babe, you know, like in the way that he kissed her before they left for the date
was not necessary at all.
So
It was
fucking extra.
Yeah,
like, you
really
look like an idiot.
Weedy Hut Jr.
I'm not saying he shouldn't have kissed his wife, but, you know, lean in, that's not how you kiss your wife normally. You are showing the fuck out. And he showed the fuck out.
Yeah, that was
you know, he showed his ass with that shit. You know.
Yeah.
So I think the show was really good. I really would have liked to see what they could have done with like a real budget with the script. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm like, damn, do I really go to Patreon and drop some dollars on it because I really fucking want to see what happens? Because at the end, when she goes to the teacher's house, I don't think they fuck. I really think it's going to be a conversation and an understanding that we're going forward. You know what I mean? I don't think the teacher would cross that line to have sex with her in that moment. Because she's going to spill what happened as soon as they get in that house and sit there. Oh, man, I got to see it. I got to see it.
They don't have the second season on YouTube?
Mm-mm. They just wrapped first season.
Oh, they just want to reel you in.
Like, you know, this is done like on a shoestring budget. Like, they just kind of pull money together to like do each one of these little episodes. And I really can't wait to see how this shit turns out.
Yeah.
Plus, I think this shit is a really good conversation starter for couples or people who think that is something that they want to try, because you can always think about how you would handle something. You could always kind of think, well, how would I handle this situation? How would I handle that situation? The more images of this that you see, it helps you go, oh, I would handle that situation like this, or I would feel this way in that situation. So I really like the diversity of how it was her being first, because like I say, I watch You, Me, and Her. It's 3 white people. The guy, you know, they're a married couple, but the girlfriend that comes in was an escort that the guy sought out, and then the wife went and sought her out. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of like a unique scenario. But the more that they have these different images, the more I think it helps people go, oh, this is for me, this ain't for me, this is how I would handle it. Or even, these are questions that I now have. Like, I watched this play out, and this gave me questions that I didn't have before to ask or to find out. So, as we kind of wrap this up, you know, the summary of the show, I think now we'll kind of go into more dialogue about like topics, you know, because I'm pretty sure Penelope, you're a monog, right? And so are you.
No, she ain't.
What do you mean, Brian?
Oh,
So I think we should we're going more topical discussion now. Actually, you got a whole bunch of notes.
I mean, it was just like notes off of each episode, and I think the one thing that I feel like I wanted to talk about is, why do we feel we have to be so possessive of our spouse? That creates like just awkwardness, and like, I don't know, I feel like we get way too possessive over like one another when we should like bring that down a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little
it's
bit.
a lot.
Just a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Get freaking and touching a little bit. I can show you how I move a little bit. Go on there, girl. We
Y'all
both
look
on your
like y'all
pants just a
had
little
something to
bit.
say.
Oh no, I was just making sure.
Take them off, pull them down just a little bit.
Can you hear this woman?
Like,
We could share this.
Can y'all hear me?
because the closer she gets to the mic, the quieter she gets to talk.
I don't
the
like
closer,
being loud.
quieter.
It bothers me.
But
You gotta say it with your chest.
from here,
From you.
say it from your chest.
From your chest.
No, but I think the possession thing comes from birth control. Like,
What?
when you look, hold on. So when you look at the structure of marriage, right? All of that served a purpose because there was no abortion at one point. There was no such thing as birth control. So the fact of monogamy and marriage was a security of, if you're pregnant, it's by me. And now I have to take care of you and the baby. You know what I mean? Like, that structure of marriage, when you look through history, especially like European history, because relationship form in this country is based upon European standards of a relationship kind of governed by European. So all I'm saying on that, trying to explain like the structure of relationships, like, I can kind of see like a lot of people in this country believe that the structure of marriage happened organically and the rules to it happened just kind of organically. But this was a system set up and created like any other system. Like it had a function, it served a purpose. You know, I know it's hard for women now to comprehend what it was like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and why it was important. Why it was important for you to be a virgin when you got married. Why it was important for your survival that monogamy be the institution. You know what I mean? Because work was not what it is now. Like back then, you're not going to kill the fucking bear. You're not going to fight wars with swords. You're not doing any of the things that men had to do because we were physically stronger. A woman's place back then, like it was just a balance between what men had to do and what women had to do. You know what I mean? Like the fact that there was no birth control, the fact that there was no DNA, the fact that there was no child support system, the fact that none of these things existed, and the only way that I knew that these children were mine were we were married. It's a monogamous relationship under the eyes of God and Christianity and all of that, and that's what that system functioned as. You know what I mean? So like that possession, especially for men. Like, I don't think women could even comprehend what it's like for somebody to be able to hand you a human being and be like, that's yours. And the only way I got to know that that's mine is because you say it's mine. Now I got to go take care of this thing. I got to go hunt and kill and build a house and do all of these fucking things because, oh, nigga, grocery stores don't exist then. You know what I'm saying? Like, the systems in which we live in now didn't exist then, and it was very much a survival thing. Now, Plan B, Planned Parenthood, abortions, DNA, those structures don't really serve the same purpose. If I get you pregnant, there's a whole bunch of ways you can prove that this motherfucker is mine. You know what I mean? And then not only can you prove it's mine, but you can hold me legally obligated to take care of it. So because part of the structure of being married is if you give birth and we're married, damn near by law, it's mine regardless. I'm legally obligated to that. You know, so there were a lot more meaning to the structures of monogamy back then than it is now. That's why a lot of marriages and shit tend to end. We don't need one another. You can survive on your own. I can survive on my own. You know, there isn't this like need for one another. So when shit goes bad, you can be like, "Yo, I'm done. I'm out of here." So in those structures, that need to possess or control somebody is greater. You know what I mean? Like women felt a deeper sense of needing to control too, because I can't just have you running off on me. I'm not going to hunt no motherfucking deer. I'm not finna plow no goddamn fields like by myself. You know what I mean? Like what it took to survive just as a human being on a planet. A lot of that shit was beyond the physicality of what women could do. Like the average height of a woman back then was like 4'5". Like people were physically smaller back then. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like to be in the fucking wilderness, even if you're like in a town or a village, nigga, there's no walls, there's no concrete roads. Like nigga, there's lions and bobcats and whatever the fuck else wildlife is around here. Could just walk in this goddamn hut, this teepee, this mud hut, whatever the fuck culture we live in, the style of housing that we have. Like someone can come in this motherfucker and just eat us. Women be talking about this equality now, but not a woman wanted it back then. When it's like, okay, yeah, you go fight the lion that didn't came in the middle of the village, so this fucking lion don't eat our children. No, it was very much. Here's your sword, husband. There, go fight that motherfucker. Now, you know, it's boardrooms and it's college and it's jobs and it's. Now motherfuckers want equality after, and I know it's gonna sound misogynistic, but after men have built societies and made shit so soft and nice, now you want to be equal. Okay, go do that.
feel like that definitely played a part in our like subconscious thinking of like what a marriage is and how you are supposed to treat your partner and how you guys are supposed to treat them like interacting with others. But I also think in like this modern age, just social media has like glorified like being possessive of your partner so much.
Absolutely.
And I can see it on, I can go on my Twitter feed right now and I can just look, I can just scroll through it and you will find like countless things of like, oh my God, this girl, she got like her boyfriend's like, she's the screensaver on her boyfriend's phone, and she got like, you know, when, I don't know if you ever seen like those photos where like it's like a photo of a couple and the girl posts it and then she puts tags on the guy like don't touch my man, but it's like no tags or anything, it's just kind of like pretty much telling everybody to back up off my man and shit.
No, the worst one is that little video where it's, my homegirl found this website, and on this website, she was able to look up her husband's or her boyfriend's text messages and da-da-da-da and
Oh
all
my
that.
God, yeah. And they glorify it and they say like, oh my God, this is goals and wow, he's so protective. And I'm just looking at this shit and I'm like, oh my God, like, that's so unhealthy. Like, the fact that there are some people out there who won't even let their partner talk to the opposite gender, like, blows my mind.
I mean,
And it's more often than not, and I see it with my people who are close to me, like they're in a relationship and they want to be able to explore, but they're so possessive of their partner that they want to look through their phone and like go off on them for texting bitches, and I'm just like, you are doing the same thing. Like, y'all both doing the same thing.
I think that was the husband's conflict. I think that also stopped him from being able to bring up that conversation, because the fact of a lot of times one person is okay with doing something, but that jealousy is so embedded, that possession is so embedded, they can do the dirt, but they don't want the other person to do the shit.
And I feel like that's just so much ego. Like, it's so much ego.
And it doesn't make sense at all. Like,
it's super hypocritical. It's so hypocritical.
A lot of that shit is based on insecurities, right? Because I think insecurities play a huge role, because a lot of that possession comes from, if I stop all of these things, you won't replace me. You know, if you talk to somebody else, you see somebody else, you date somebody else, you sleep with somebody else, I'm over. I'm not what I was to you or whatever. You know, I think it really touches on the level of insecurities that people are very uncomfortable with dealing with. Because I know, like, growing up poly, like, and being in the community, like, jealousy is not a trait that's okay. It's not. And even when you're, like, in the community and you're at poly meetups and different poly groups and, you know, people are talking, there's so much, like, information shared in how to deal with jealousy, how to process through that. Because a lot of times, like, if you feel jealous, that touches an insecurity that you have. If you can really take a good, honest look at that insecurity, you can also see it's connected to some place that you're probably not living up to. Something you're probably not doing. Or, you know, something like that. You know, it just, I know many times to where, like, I feel jealous or I feel something touches my insecurity, I gotta have that conversation and I gotta express, yo, I feel insecure about this and this is why and this is where it comes from, and oh, this is a situation between me and you and I felt jealous or I felt insecure, and because once I say it, it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah.
You know, like the gravity is kind of lifted off of it.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I knew early that I was poly. You know what I mean? Like, my dad never really was just like, oh, this is what we are, this is what we do. But I watched him, I watched how he was with women. And even just on a basic level, like, I watched the results of his relationships and the friendships that he had versus other guys around me and how their relationships would end and how their friendships would go. You know what I mean? Like, I learned real early, like, and he used to tell me, like, yo, always give a person with all the information. Let them decide if they want to go or stay. You know, you just watch so-and-so get sugar put in their tank or this, and that. You know, he kind of raised me like, you can never blame a woman for reacting to a lie. That's on you.
Mm-hmm.
You did that. You know what I mean? Like, real early, learning how to get over the losing factor, right? Because a lot of men have a hard time being open and honest when it comes to things like this out of fear of losing who you're with.
Do you think that it's important in a relationship for, like, let's say one of the partners is feeling jealous? Do you think it's important to go to your partner and be like, hey, I'm feeling kind of jealous right now, and just, like, talk it out instead of just like, oh, no, I shouldn't feel this. I gotta bottle this up and I'm gonna just, like, work on it on my own. Like, do you think it's better to express that?
No, you should never bottle it up. Like, when you feel those moments to where you feel jealous, it should be a conversation. Because a lot of times, the other person could just not be aware. You know, a lot of times a person could feel like, be under the assumption, oh, this doesn't bother them, or they're cool with this. That's why I tell people, if you don't like talking, be in a monogamous relationship. You ain't gotta fucking talk much. This poly shit is conversation after conversation after fucking conversation. And then in the morning it's some more conversations, and at night it's some more conversations, and it's a whole bunch of feelings and emotions and therapy and conversations. It's a constant growth process. It's a constant connecting with your partner. It's a constant growing inside yourself and connecting with who you are. It's a constant, what do I need now? Where am I at now? What satisfies me? What needs do I have? And it's a constant that.
Yeah, and I think the more that I've, like, learned about polyamory, I've really realized that that's one part of it that I really, really enjoy, is how open you are with your partner and honest. It just sets you up to not only have, like, good peace of mind, but you also feel so much more comfortable. And then I started kind of thinking that that is a pattern that I've had in my life a lot without me really realizing. Like, me and my mother, we have a really strong, like, we're really close, and that's mostly due to the fact that from a young age, like, she always told me, like, you know, Tiffany, I really, oh man, I just snitched on myself. You know, Lady T.
I'll believe it.
You know, I always want you to come to me and don't ever hide something from me. If you're in trouble, like, just call me. Like, I'll be there. I won't cuss you out. I won't chew you out for it. And that really helped me, especially when I was a teenager and I was handling their divorce and stuff. Like, it just helped me tremendously. I could just talk to my mother and she would be open with me and I would be open with her. And I've been like that all my life, and I noticed that I'm like that with my academics too. When I get a project, I ask my teacher so many questions. I want to clarify everything, because then once everything is clarified, then I feel the most comfortable, like I can dive right into it. And that's kind of like a pattern that I never saw that I actually had until I kind of tried it out. But yeah, I really do like that aspect.
I think the communication part is hard. Like in monogamous relationship, I don't want to make it seem like I believe there's no communication, but a lot of that communication is false. Like you're hiding things to try to communicate and kind of talk around things, right? Because you know there's things you can't have, you know there's things you can't do, you know there's no, like in poly, you could take a break. Uh, I just don't feel like having sex for a while, or I need to be alone for a while, and that's okay because all the pressure isn't on one person. You know what I mean? Like your need for someone doesn't always have to be on me. You know what I mean? Like when you watch monogamous relationships, like times of stress or personal issues, you have to still be in it and you have to still participate in it. And people will say, like, I'm there for you, I support you, but they still will feel the neglect, the lack of affection, because I'm your only source. You know, and I don't think people realize, too, like, that pressure that you put on somebody to be your all in everything for life is a lot. And I ask people all the time, like, okay, so you believe that you were that interested and you were that great and your sex is that diverse and variety and that good that you can hold somebody solo attention for 40, 50, 60 years? Is that really where your mind is at? Nobody's going to grow. Nobody's going to evolve. Nobody's going to go in and out of different kinks and fetishes and turn-ons. Like, you're just going to ride this pattern for all this time? To me, I never really can make sense of that. You know what I mean? Because you watch people grow. You watch people grow apart. You watch people change over time. You know what I mean? And what satisfied you then, what your kink was then, what emotional and, you know, psychological needs you had then ain't probably what it is 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I know for me, I don't have a problem with outsourcing. I do not have a problem with tag teaming with a dude. If I love you, you need support, I may not be the one to do it all the time. Or I may not be enough in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? I've had conversations with my partner's other partner. Like I've had conversations of, yo, you notice Tammy's been kind of quiet, you know, has she kind of been this way with you? Yeah, you know, like we went out the other night, she really didn't talk. It seemed like she was kind of spacing out a little bit. Well, what you think is going on? Like, y'all cool? Like, I'm cool, we cool. Figuring out what's wrong and being able to, with somebody else, be there and support that person. You know what I mean? Because for one, I'm a round table person. I don't really have relationships separate from my relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I like the family aspect of it. You know what I mean? If I have more than one partner and my other partner is not willing to be there for my partner as much as I am, you're just not a partner to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I see.
I
But there, were you always like that, or did you kind of morph into that type of polyamory? Because I know there's different ones where it's like it's a pool of people and y'all just seeing each other and it's mixing, and then there's one where it's like this is the main couple and then y'all just have like sides after, like that kind of are beneath that main couple.
I've been in polycules, which is like a group of people. I've been in polyfidelity relationships where it's a closed group. I've been in triads, and I've been in monogamous relationships. And for me, like, I had to grow with age and maturity to really be behind my woman having another man. Through my 20s, I couldn't really emotionally process that well. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's mainly because of the environment that I came from. The environment that I came from was very violent and aggressive, very possessive, very man driven. Like, I run shit and this is the way it is. So it did take me like growth and knowing what real love was. Cause like my ex-wife is a prime example. Like, I did not have a problem with the guy she was seeing. I had a problem with, you fucked up on every level. The way you lied to me, the way you lied to him, the false images that you created, the way you got down, you know, she made me lose a level of respect for her because of how much she allowed this other person to disrespect her. You know what I mean? Like, I can't put you on a pedestal and then you let a motherfucker run you through the mud and then I can put you back up on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's tough.
But in that, like, when she first was like, I want to find a guy to date, I was okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the guy, it wasn't the male that was a problem. You know what I mean? Like, I was very okay with somebody because I knew like my workload and I knew how much away from home I was, and I knew what she was missing and lacking in our relationship, right? So I didn't have a problem with somebody else kind of filling up that void. And then too, I knew like she was just into a lot of things that I wasn't into. She wasn't into a lot of things that I was into, and I was happy that she would have found somebody who was into some of those things. You know what I mean? And other relationships that I've had with women who've had other male partners, I think it's more a level of, is me and him cool? You know what I mean? Like, I just need to know that you're aware of me and that you're okay with this. Because a lot of times, especially with new people, they still don't really know how to be completely open. So, like, yeah, she'll sense that I'm okay with it, but sense that he may not be. So I know, but he don't know. Type of situation. You know what I mean? That's why I'm a round table type person. Like, I would never have a partner who does not have access to my other partner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do that too out of trust.
Dang, OG, how we get to that point?
Being secure in yourself, knowing that when you move, you moving straight. You know what I'm saying? Because
I'm
as
talking
a
about for
man,
the women. How you get the women together? Sit down.
the right man.
I
If
like that answer.
men is your thing, this is what makes it bad on a man's part, because men have a habit of saying one thing to one woman and saying another thing to another woman and not really wanting them to have a conversation to unearth all of what the fuck he's saying, right? That comes from like early puberty, fucking junior high, when you first start talking to girls and you like this one and you like this one and then you like that one over there, and you're trying to see which one like you too, to kind of make a move and go where you want to go. So you done told this one this, and you done told this one this, and you done did the little threefold thing with this one over here, and you did the little note with the check maybe over here. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my god,
it starts
I forgot
early,
about
and
that.
the fear too of like men not wanting to, like, you have this woman, you don't want to lose this woman, so you start having these different conversations with this woman so you can keep this one and not lose this one. One of the key points I tell men is, I'm honest because I'm not afraid of losing anybody. I do not own nobody. I do not possess anybody. If you hear anything come out my mouth that makes you want to leave, I respect that decision. I will support that decision. It is the fear of loss or consequence that makes us not be open, makes us not move with full transparency. Once it's just like I've been reading and living by the Bushido for since maybe the 10th grade, and one of the concepts in that is you cannot be a correct Ronin to your master if you still think you're alive. You got to live every day like you're dead. I have every relationship like it's over. I don't fear the loss of losing somebody. That way, I'm always open. I'm always honest, and I don't hide shit because I don't want you in my ship if you're not on this course. If it doesn't work for you, and I think that's another thing too, that's a big growth part, right? To respect that something doesn't work for somebody. Like, I don't try to convince anybody of shit. I don't try to, like, manipulate the information or what I'm saying. Like, this is who I am. This is how I live. This is where I'm at right now. Do you see yourself fitting in this? If not, I respect that. And I really respect that. And I don't try to maneuver the shit in any way, because when you fuck with me, nigga, you fuck with me the long way. You know what I mean? I don't like the end results of shit not... Like, I don't like that whole, why the fuck you lie to me? And blah, 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 blah. I don't want none of that. I don't like none of that. I don't like none of the repercussions that come from lying. I'd rather just be like, yo, this is what it is, and the chick be like, nigga, fuck off. Okay, cool. I get it. It ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Rather than... And then, too, to me, those lies are major that motherfuckers tell. Oh, I love you. You're the only one. And all of that type shit. You are taking somebody somewhere emotionally that has serious repercussions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I say I love you, I mean that.
Yeah.
Nigga, when I say I love you, like, nigga, I mean that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in the way that I move, man, like, I couldn't have the level of happiness and freedom in my life if I wasn't as transparent and open as I am. You know what I mean? Like, no, I can't. Fuck that.
At what point in time did you go from? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
At what point in time did you go from being, excuse me, being just because I remember earlier before we was on air, you were basically saying how you were also young and steering your way, kind of how you wanted it to be, but then you also realized, like, you got to keep, that strong loop, basically. At what point in time and what age did that transfer over for you? And what made you really, like, what clicked for you to be like, oh man, I really gotta involve, people if I really wanna make this happen?
I mean, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for other people. You know what I mean? Like, I just have had some tragic circumstances in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, whether it was my fucking lawyer or it was my daddy paying for my lawyer, the motherfucker who giving me CPR to bring me back, the doctors who worked on me when I OD'd, like, you just cannot. And I watch people, man, like, especially being from the fucking hood, there are so many people that try to walk so solo, so guarded, so emotionless. And it's just like, there was a time to where I had all the respect in the world. There wasn't a person who would say anything bad about me whatsoever fucking ever. I had free walk of my city, any side. I could go through Frisco and Oakland and nobody would do shit or say shit to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was so fucking unhappy. It was such a on guard all the time, always having a pistol on me type of life, and that it's just not happy. You know, like learning how to open up, to be just friendly with people, to show somebody that you love them, to show somebody that you care for them, to extend that hand of care and humanity to people for it to come back was hard. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, if it wasn't for therapy, man, I'd probably really be fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an easy thing going from hella fucking trauma and going through all kind of fucked up family shit, hood shit, jail shit, to being a complete soft Twinkie. Like, it be motherfuckers who be like, oh man, nigga, you too soft. Nigga, I worked to get this soft. I put in time and effort to be this emotional and sensitive and soft because I've been the other side. Yeah, niggas can keep all that shit. That's so fucking lonely. It's so unhappy. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Fuck all that. I'd rather check this out, man. I'd rather have a crowd of people watch me cry over a cartoon than have a room full of niggas fear me. Any day. Because people could watch me cry, and some people could laugh, be like, oh, look at that big ass nigga crying. But when a room full of niggas fear you, half of the motherfuckers is plotting to kill you. Because dudes don't like being afraid of nobody. And when people fear you, their only thought is to remove you. I move through this world not a threat. Not a threat. Every fucking person I deal with and talk to, everybody loves me. Why? Because I just move through the world like that. I don't need to flex my ego on you. I don't need to flex my manhood on you. Nigga, I know I could kill you if I wanted to. I don't need to prove that to nobody. But nigga, I can hug you just as much as I could kill you. I think for a lot of people, man, the duality is hard. You know what I'm saying? You either one or the other. I'd be soft. I'd rather be Charmin. You know what I mean? Any day. I'd rather run. Man, my son finna be 13 years old. The nigga still hold my hand when we in public. I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? I love that shit. I love that when my boys are around me, they hang off me like lemur monkeys. That is happiness to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. But it's just years. It's just learning different things, going through different situations, losing people, friends, family, getting your heart broke, all kind of shit. If you can follow the positive path through all of that, like you get to a place to where, like now, do you know what would have to happen for me to be like, oh my God, I hate living? Like, nigga, it would have to be something severely drastic. There's nothing that can really faze me to make me be like, oh, I'm unhappy. Like, at our job, they was like, oh, when it first popped, oh, people finna get laid off. I was like, oh, cool, okay. That's, whatever. Everybody started freaking out and tripping and, okay, whatever. It's a job, get another job. No job if I felt like it. You know what I mean? Like, it takes something life-altering to shake me. That makes you happy. Like, nothing is a big deal. You know what I mean? I could fix anything. I can make up and apologize for almost anything. I can, like, when you really look at what it takes your life to make it, rent, car note, insurance, when you really look at, oh, my life can run off $2,500 a month, and you really conceptualize that, okay, well, I don't have to work myself to death. Now I got a whole bunch of free time to invest in shit that I want to do. Make money how I want to make money. Or I got time to put into people. I can take a walk on the beach with my girl. I can do this. I can do that. I can spend time with my kids. You know, back home, man, when I was in IT, like, I'm leaving in the morning, they sleep. I get home, they sleep. when I can see them on the weekend, I'm fucking exhausted. I'm irritated. I'm grumpy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. Fuck all that. And it's even the same in my relationships. Like, if I'm not bettering your life, if I'm not adding to your fucking happiness, you need to dump me like I was a crackhead. You know, I really deal with relationships like that. If I don't make you better, if I don't add to your happiness, yo, you need to kick me to the curb because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, you know, I try to say maybe it's like the Buddhist way of life, you know, the principles that I believe in or experiences, but I just think it's just a mixture of a whole bunch of things to where I just love loving people.
You consider yourself chosen?
What do you mean?
You consider yourself chosen? There's a group of people you grew up with, right? Some people died, some people went to jail, some people crackheads, some people whatever. You seem to have made it out of your circumstances. I don't know your complete circumstances, but I know a little bit about California, and yeah. So, would you consider yourself chosen?
Nope. I'm not special. I'm lucky.
Lucky? You believe in luck?
Yeah.
You truly believe in luck. So how can you say something like the 5 Ps? Dun dun dun.
There are times to where like you don't prepare, but shit still works out. You know, proper preparation to prevent poor performance is a good way to plan, to do your best, to make sure you got all your ducks in a row. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes shit works out.
All right. So say for instance you didn't prepare 100%. You prepared 50%, right? I mean, so then that 50% that you gave was still able to conquer the circumstances, right?
Yeah.
So it only needed 50%.
You can't really calculate that because you don't know what 100% would have got you.
Probably exceptional.
You know?
I mean, that's
if you're trying to hit that peak of perfection, you never want to go 50%, but sometimes it's what you got in the moment, right? So luck, okay, let me not use the word luck.
You ever been tired?
Let me use the word karma.
You ever
right?
smashed a girl, super tired, still out of control though?
I'm a virgin.
It still works out, yeah. But it's like, hey, I was tired. Who cares? But I mean, not necessarily who cares, but you know, I still did my thing.
I don't know. I'm a virgin.
Oh man.
I just theorize those things. I'm saving my body. I don't know why I just said that.
You know,
No, like,
I work on the same thing.
tired is
Wholesomeness.
tired too can be like a matter of perception, right? If I see that I'm tired, I need to lay out how I'm finna navigate that, right?
Okay.
I need to take a shower. I need to hit this joint. I need to get the right music going on. And I need to attack it in a manner to where I don't have to physically exert myself too much over a long period of time. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now you just had a whole giggle fit. What was that giggle fit?
I made eye contact with some people, and
With me.
yeah, I get tired sometimes, and when I'm tired, bro, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna fall asleep.
But this is the thing.
I'm gonna fall asleep like.
You can
Well,
be tired.
after when do you fall asleep specifically?
What's wrong with that mouth, though?
Hey, that's one of the times I fall asleep specifically. Another time when I fall asleep specifically.
How the fuck do you fall asleep eating pussy? You
No,
go
no, no.
around.
Opposite.
No, opposite.
No, you say you tired.
Yeah.
You don't have to exert yourself. Just roll over, let her ride that face. Like, what's wrong with your mouth? I mean,
Okay, yeah.
You know.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
even
But,
a handicapped man can run a race.
yeah. I know. I didn't ran it.
They even got the chin strap. You know, the dildo chin strap. You can just lay there. She can ride that
Wow.
face, fuck that thing, and nigga, you can catch a nap.
Never heard of it. Probably never use it. But maybe, yeah.
No, you should definitely get one of those.
You got one in the back? You can show me.
No, but I got a dildo that I use that has that like suction thing so I can rest it on my chin when I'm eating the pussy.
Oh, you're for real.
Yeah, I'm for real. What? Why I just get that look?
I thought that was actually a thing that you just made up. Honestly.
No.
No.
Definitely not. No, I mean these are like you have to be willing to. I always tell men don't fear toys. You know what I'm saying? Like the toy ain't you. It's your lightsaber. You feel the force. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, the guy who kind of trained me as an escort, right? In his room, and this is, I kind of took a page out of his book, right? In his room, he had this dresser, right? When you pulled out the drawers, yo, it was like velvet, but it was like each toy had like a shape
Had his own
type
sock.
thing.
Had his own little socket thing.
Yeah, like I guess it was, I don't know if it was foam or wood that was under the velvet, but had the shapes, and like each drawer was a set of toys for a particular fetish. You know what I'm saying? Like he had
Wow,
a 6
that's
drawer
nice.
dresser.
I have a good friend of mine's. She actually also has one of those, and it was funny when she first showed me. She's into like open relation or like polyamorous relationships. Yeah. But yeah, when she showed me that, I was like, whoa, this is like some of this. You know, I'm still like on the younger side, not as haven't seen a lot of things. And when I first seen that, I was like, oh, this is for real. This like people have like, you know how you have some movies where a nigga open a closet. Or you press a button, and then a bunch of shit just start flipping. Glass like mirrors.
Quagmire's house.
Mirrors start flipping around and all that shit. It was kind of like that, where like you had drawers and shit just flipping around, and all of a sudden you got toys and guns everywhere. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I took my clue from him. Like by the time I hit like my early 20s, yo man, I had at least 20 different e-glass toys. You know what I mean? You
What's
know, e-glass. It's glass, but it's like the same glass they use on the windows of the shuttle, the space shuttle. It's like you can heat it up, you can boil it, you can sanitize it, you can put it in ice, it holds the cold and shit like that. Like I had 20 of those. Like I had this whole little sanitation thing. Like you put the toy in it and you hit it, and it has this ultrasonic that will watch the toys.
That shit must have been expensive.
Like.
Oh man.
No, I copped it off a dental assistant.
Oh,
a dental
God.
assistant on the low. You know what I mean? Like, hey yo, I was Richmond Dental Office where my dentist. Hey, I'll shoot you $200 later for that. And they hooked it up. Well, she hooked it up. But like all kind of toys, restraints. Like in my ceiling, there was like metal rings in the studs that I could connect different straps to. I think, like, have you ever done like any martial arts or boxing or anything, like any structured fighting?
Yeah, I used to do martial arts.
Like, I did Aikido most of my life, right? I think you have to dedicate as much discipline to that like it was a martial art. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you touch a woman, if you take a woman into a room and you touch her and she knows everything that you did, you ain't done shit. You failed. Go back to the drawing board, figure some shit out. Like Cat Williams said, you know, you try some shit, it don't work, switch it up. Try some more shit, don't work, switch it up. Like, and maybe it's just a me thing. Like, I get off when I hear, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? To be able to touch a woman in a manner like she's never felt before. Now I feel like I'm bringing something to the table. If I'm with a woman and it's like everything I've done, she's had done before, everything she feels, she's felt before, but what the fuck am I doing? What unique experience am I bringing to the table that sets me apart from anybody else?
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think you gotta chase that O, man. Like powder, you gotta ping.
Oh yeah, the video.
You gotta chase that. And I'm serious as a heart attack, man. Like, I'm telling you, like,
Please take his advice.
if a woman that I'm with doesn't orgasm like a couple of times, like I feel severely something wrong with me. Like, I could easily slip into a depression behind that shit, and I'd be on some serious like, look, okay, so what was it like? Was a rotation off? Like, at what point did like you were almost there and you didn't get there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got to break this down play by play. Like, okay, you know, like football, you like X's and O's, and it be like, we got to figure this out, because I can't take the L. I cannot emotionally handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I gotta figure some shit out.
Huh.
So too many dudes are just, you know, okay with the, oh, you cool? No, I didn't come. Oh, okay. Like, way too many dudes are just cool with that. They just go home, they don't feel shit. They just be like, oh, that was good nut. I can't emotionally handle that. I know it has ties to like personal low self-esteem and shit like that. I cannot handle that at all. I will tell you this. So I stopped having large group sex because I went to the hospital one time, right? When I used to put together like these swinger BBW events, it was like a group of girls that I was cool with, because like in those environments it's kind of like cliques that are together. So like it was a clique of women that I ran with, and one night nobody's dude showed up, right? So
And you got carpal tunnel.
no, I was taken away in the ambulance, right? Because I'm in this room, I'm high, and I'm trying to make each one of them extremely climax over and over again, right? And I'm like sweating, I'm getting exhausted. You know what I mean? Like I literally fell the fuck out, woke up in the ambulance. You know what I'm saying? Like, to the hospital, IV bags. It wasn't good. And I was just like, I can't be putting myself in that situation, because
That's true.
I'll keep going. You know what I mean? Like, I'll hurt myself, because if I go into that situation and it's just a thought of one of them being like, that nigga wasn't cool, I'm a wreck, right? Like, that's my thought. I remember, like, we were all in the living room drinking, and I remember having this conversation with myself, like, oh man, you gonna die with these fat bitches tonight. Like, just knowing that, like, these women, they weren't prudes, they had really active sex lives, and knowing what it was gonna take to make sure that when I left that room with a positive reputation, right? Nobody was gonna be like, I didn't perform well. Like, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, and this is what I'm running through my mind, and I just go, I'm gonna die. Like, I know it. And there was times, like, as I'm in it and I'm sweating, I'm like I'm feeling, I'm like, oh my God, like, couple palpitations, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when your heart flutter, like, oh, okay, wait a minute, okay, no, I'm still alive. Like, keep going. And then, so one of them looked like Betty Page. You know who Betty Page is?
No.
She was a 50s pinup model, right? And this one girl, I used to call her Betty Page because she had like a Betty Page tattoo. She looked like
Betty
her
Boop?
from,
What Betty Boop?
no, not Betty Boop, Betty Page. She was like a fetish model from like the 50s and shit.
Oh, okay, different.
But she had her like tattooed on her arm. She had the like straight black hair and bangs and shit. I remember looking at her in the middle of our situation, and she got this bored look on her face, like she was just kind of sitting on the other bed. And I remember like hearing this shit in my head, like, nigga, you ain't shit. Like, you're fucking horrible. Like, you're a piece of shit. Like, no woman should ever let you touch him at all. And I remember like kind of just like extra on what I was on at that moment, and then having to go full throttle over there and knowing like this is it. Like, I'm gonna die tonight. Like, making peace with that. Like, I'm not leaving this room until everybody is fucking satisfied, and then I end up in the ambulance, and it's like, oh well, at least I'm still here. And don't get me wrong, I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to not be so much. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. It ain't never too much. Right, ladies? Y'all was supposed to be like, yeah.
I don't believe them.
I'm not convinced either.
I don't, like, I hear women say, you know, throughout my life, like, oh, it's too much. Like, no, I don't believe that. I really believe, like, I don't believe it's enough for women.
I don't. Yeah, no.
I don't believe, like, women have I'm done. You know what I'm saying? They say it. And this is where, like, the unrealistic shit talking comes in. Like a woman to say, like, I'm good, it's cool, and in my mind, it will still be like she's lying, because as soon as, like, she talks to her best friend or something like that, it's going to be like, man, this nigga was trash.
Yeah. I be having the same thoughts. Yeah.
I can't deal with it. I
No,
can't
no,
handle that.
No.
Emotionally, I can't handle that.
Yeah, no.
Is there a limit? Like, is there enough?
I have not reached that. If there is, I don't know.
You
not,
asexual, so we gonna skip past.
I don't know.
She ain't even into sex.
She's fucking asexual.
I'm playing like, for you, is there like an orgasm that is like the ending one? Like, oh, this is cool, it's over from here.
I don't think so. I've never experienced that, so I can't even really say if there is, but I don't think so just because off of what I read. I'm also in a human sexuality class right now, which is pretty interesting, and
I'm telling you, drop that class.
we were reading a study about women having multiple orgasms and how it's achievable for most women, but some women have a harder time than others. But for guys, it's just like, that's not even a possibility. Like, you can't multiple orgasm back to back as a man. So that definitely
Back to back. Give us take 5.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I can't just be like, okay, you just come. I'm gonna keep fucking. I'm gonna keep. You know, like, I think there needs to be a little.
Can.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have.
Just gotta.
But you know,
milk
some
that
people,
prostate, and
some
it's gonna keep
people,
shooting.
some people just don't feel comfortable with that every time, and
Or at all.
well, they like some things about it, but not, you know, the insertion of the finger. But
Not with them long ass fucking nails you
yeah,
got.
listen, I will sacrifice
You better
one of my.
pop this one.
I
You
would
better pop that
sacrifice
one.
one of my fingers if need be, but they don't want it, and I can't surprise them with that because that's not a good surprise.
Has every man asked could he stick it in the booty, or do sometime they just do that?
Sometimes
You should probably take lead on that.
Listen,
I don't want to scare.
I've never
someone.
enforced anything that I have not at least asked about first, or like prompt to prior to. So, yeah.
You know that sway in the back that some athletic skinny dudes got, like that sway right there before that. If you just press your arm down on that, it fucks up the leverage. They can't just jump up.
You ever seen a donkey kick?
No, that's okay because you're in the middle, right? Like the legs are like here.
Okay,
You're
I'm
in the
imagining
middle.
it.
You are
And
mounted
then leg. Wait, where does my arm go?
right in the back. The
You ever watch
smaller-
UFC?
here.
Oh.
You ever watch UFC? Them niggas use straight legs and arms for submissions.
I got my pinky off though. I think this is enough.
Submissions, I'm telling you.
He can't kick you. He can't reach back and swing on you.
And I should also handcuff him prior.
Niggas got mean
Make
elbows.
sure you get a good one. Hold
I
on.
got
Make
a
sure
nice
you get a good
elbow.
one. You want to get it all because you only going to get one shot. So when you go,
It better be.
just But you, Penelope, like, is there one that is there an orgasm that you believe is just too? Is there like an ending orgasm for you?
Like in one session of sex,
Yes.
like in just one. I mean, I think I just
Penelope doesn't orgasm.
no.
She's
like,
orgasmed
I
maybe
just
twice.
feel like there's just
I'm kidding.
so many times where I'm just like, okay, like this shit's just fucking sensitive. Leave me alone. Like leave me the fuck alone. Like
No restraints.
How do males decipher that? Or it's communication.
yeah, like you just.
I was gonna say, how do we decipher the cervix from like actual pain? You know,
I'm gonna say ow.
Yeah.
Ow, 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 ow. You know, that type of ow.
I mean, sometimes I say.
Not like a ow, ow, but like keep going, ow, ow. That's different than ow, 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 fuck. That's different than like ow.
Like, how are you hitting the cervix? Just with your dick?
I'm hitting all types of ways, boy.
No, stop. No, hold on. Like, if you're hitting the surface with your dick, right, you're in this motion.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to get your finger right below the rim of the cervix, and you want to.
That's the face you make too.
Gotta really dig
Because after about 20 minutes, it's like, you know, you could really.
That's
feel
really
like
deep in though, isn't
the-
it? Like the
muscles.
cervix is
Yeah,
like all the way.
You can feel like you see these arms, my nigga. Like you see, like it starts to, and you gotta switch up. But you just kind of want to bounce it off the tip of your finger. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a different ballpark right there.
Interesting.
I was reading. The reason why I asked that is I was reading this article the other day. It was basically saying like, it was a lady tweeting. She was like, please, she's like, males, please understand that there's a difference between hitting a woman's cervix and something, and she's in pain. Please know the difference. Some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of men equate like the pain of like really hurting it, beating it up, to as they're doing something. You know what I mean? And then some women, all they've had is like big ass dicks. That's really all they know. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what something else feels like. They don't really know. I know women, they don't know that sex could be absolutely fulfilling without pain and ice packs the next day and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know what that's like. But third in line on the question, is there an orgasm for you that is like, I'm done, nigga, it's too much?
Like when a nigga has in their mind that they want you to dissipate, yeah, like that's the one. Like, pew, like nigga, I'm good, stop, I'm great, and then the nigga just continues, and you're like, well, okay, this is interesting. Like we're just here, like we're just here at this point, just chilling.
Or let me ask you this: is there a time when you say stop, do you really mean stop?
Well, that's a good question.
Ooh, dang.
That's a good question.
Because personally, I don't know how to read that. Like,
I don't either.
when you be saying stop, it don't sound like nigga stop. It'd be like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Like,
and I'm telling you, there's a couple times, like, in my mind, it's like, oh, did I just cross into rape? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this a for real stop and I'm really not catching it?
Hey, no. There's sometimes where niggas have to literally like stop. Like, wait, are you fucking around? You joking? Or you serious? Or because niggas are really like full out do a.
Sometimes I'll be high. I'll be like, I don't.
Sometimes it don't even
keep going.
register. Yeah, sometimes it don't register, but other times it's like, do niggas like, should I pull on my pants, nigga? Like, cause on God, niggas do not play that, or some people
For me personally,
don't play that line, and so yeah.
for me, I think I do that like when I'm having like intercourse, like penis in vagina. Like I know there'll be times I'll be like, oh stop, but like I really don't mean it, or I'll be like running and they're like, why you running? And I'm like, I don't know,
Get over here.
I'm just running right now because we just
over
started
here.
and I haven't really warmed up yet. But I think the only time I really do mean that is when maybe I like have just orgasmed and my clit is just like so sensitive. It makes my legs want to shut like this. And I'm just like, I can't take this anymore. That's why I'm crushing the fuck out of your head right now.
I'm gonna say that doesn't mean crush niggas' heads, y'all.
But I mean, you got, you know, I try not to, but
Niggas can't hear afterwards.
but that's kind of like the reaction. Like my legs just want to close up and my clit is just overwhelmed.
Need a break.
Yeah, it needs at least
Need
like
a
a
break.
minute or two break. Like,
Take 5. Just.
That's how our shit work. Our shit work.
but I'm talking about the top, the
Y'all
out,
shit
the,
don't
work
the
like that,
top
bro.
of the clit gets so sensitive. You could probably still finger me. That's fine. But like that top part, the little bean, that shit is like you touch, you're like
Yeah.
That's
we on
when you're
G-Spot right
supposed to go. Yeah.
Go ahead and, ladies, please help us as men further understand the A, G, U, O, whatever spots, and to help. What's the motion? What's the hand motions? Please help our viewers understand the hand motions and pleasures to y'all. Penelope looks confused. Yeah. Do y'all get what I was saying?
I have an even better question. Why have you never thought, or maybe you have, I'm not sure. Why haven't you thought of doing like a sex therapy class thing where you literally just teach men how to please their spouse?
Oh, white women have cornered that market.
But as a guy, it's like, you know.
Okay, so
But because I know there's a lot of white women who do all that. Oh, this is an orgasm class. And
Well,
blah, blah, blah.
currently I'm putting together an escort curriculum, which that
What's the criteria to be in that class?
course fees.
So you don't have to actually be looking to be an escort to be in that class.
No. I actually, like, it started off as an escort training class, but I think it's more of a seduction class. You know what I mean? Like, so I am working on a curriculum right now around that, you know, and I'm trying to see how that is gonna come about. Like, if I can really create how I learn from who taught me, like if I can actually lay that out as a course, you know, 4-semester course, then that's because that's also going to be like a future podcast if I can hammer out the curriculum correctly.
Listen, if I'm open and willing to be your first tester. If you need somebody to go out and try these things,
I got it, but nigga, there's reading material.
okay.
There's actual homework. There's a syllabus. Like, I'm working on the syllabus right now.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it's grades.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually constructing a college level course.
Does that so in this like course? Does it include like every scenario you'll possibly be in? I mean, not every. I mean, obviously not every scenario, but like a good portion of scenarios. Whether it's like you and a solo partner, whether that partner is like for men, whether they're your partner is big or small, or for women, whether their partner is like
Yeah, it's gonna
fat
be pretty
and short and
comprehensive.
like blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Or like
yeah.
it's gonna be like with multiple, like a threesome or
Yeah.
orgies. They're gonna like include all that shit,
Flow charts.
flow charts and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
You ever seen like dancers diagrams? Like for the waltz and the two-step and the
Oh
tango.
yeah.
Yeah, flow charts.
Hey.
You know what I mean? But you never answered the question on, do you really mean stop?
Yes and no. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like she said, like, it's just too sensitive. So, like, do something else. Stop trying to continue on with what you're doing. Like, nigga, touch something else. Like, suck on some titties. Like, leave my pussy alone for, like, just for a little bit. Just for a little bit.
Like, I hear you.
But, like, I feel like if it was a for real no, like, stop, nigga, I will push you off of me, nigga. I will try with all my strength to, like, get away from the situation. Like, might have to slap somebody a couple of times, but you know what? Like, it gets the point across. Like,
I was just about to ask. So that's
like,
okay. So
Like-
tonality and aggression.
yes, yes.
Stop. Push. All right. Got it. Got it.
I don't know, like, when I replay certain things in my mind, it's like, when I hear that stop, in my mind, it's like, now go another 20.
No, that's
Go
not what that
another
means.
30.
That means chill.
Because, like, when you say stop, you don't
another
stop
30.
coming.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, I get it, because it's like, once you bust a nut and the girl's still giving you head, like, at a point, it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
kind of function different, because, like, when you say stop, and I understand it's extra sensitive, but then that's when you start coming, like, super hard. You know what I mean? And it's like, I want that. I want the orgasms that's beyond the stop.
No, you want the
Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah. I'm gonna get there one day. I'm gonna reach that.
Okay.
I'm close. Almost. Like that far away.
And then try having to explain that to somebody. Oh, she just disappeared. I don't know where she went. She just,
Officer,
yeah, she just disappeared.
I think I can articulate that though.
Can you?
You better have a camera in that room, because that's going to be the most viral video of whatever year that
Just-
happens.
No, I'm gonna be like, yo, take a Geiger counter in there. Like you can see like her body energy is still floating around this room.
Oh God.
You know what I'm saying? Like
How do you bring that back?
Like,
You don't? That's just the...
you
You know,
can't
hold
explain
on.
that.
check this out, right?
I don't even
know why I
asked that question.
Like me and him just had a conversation because I was talking to her about trying to figure out how to teach like what I do, and it's hard because I can't. How would I explain it? Like just trying to explain like what I do with my hands, or trying to explain what I do with my mouth, like. It's so hard because it takes so much of like watching the body, watching like your partner to like, it's like jazz. It's like contemporary jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know the skills, but you're improvising in the moment as your partner is moving and going through what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I can teach that. Like, everybody's seen the little memes of like the shocker and the this and the that and the like
Yeah.
hand, but it's like dudes can see those pictures, but to know
It sounds like...
how that shit works is hard to articulate.
It sounds like you need like a live action class.
Like, not even that. Like,
Yeah.
Like that seems like the okay, guys. You see, she's almost there. You hear the tonality. Okay.
That's gotta be so like I don't.
Like
I've seen it.
uncomfortable.
Like if you watch like Real Sex that they used to have on like HBO, and you know there are different media things that
They have sex on HBO
have
anymore?
that. I don't think they have Real Sex on HBO.
I used to watch
anymore.
that shit when my parents used to leave the house.
Yeah.
I used to watch that shit. God.
I know when I used to see that shit, it was more like I gotta do that.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, but then too, like watching that shit made me open to a lot of shit. Like the first time I ever went on like on a tantric retreat in Napa Valley and all that shit. I think if it wasn't like those Real Sex episodes when I was young, I would have not been open to that shit. You know what I mean?
My pops used to have like spilling all his beans. My pops used to have little tapes. I don't know if he got them now, but he used to have back in the day when we used to live in his apartments. He used to have little tapes in his closet, and sometimes he would keep his. I would know when he watched them, because it was almost like I'm really good with like organization, right? And I can typically tell how people keep things, how they structure certain things, like their rooms, or you know, if their routines. Like
Yeah.
I can pay attention to habits and routines. Is basically what I'm saying. So I can pay attention to habits and routines. And so he had a certain like way he would sit his DVDs, and a certain like amount of closure that he would keep his closet. If he watched it, if he didn't watch it, if he's about to watch it, like all that shit. Like I knew it, right? I was saying all this shit to say, I basically used to watch his when he left. Like it was a couple times I used to definitely slide in and like watch
porn
him.
is such a bad instructional
Yeah,
thing,
it's
man.
terrible. It's terrible.
It's. I think it's sad how like
It's
a
really
lot.
craved my fetish. I have a fetish.
What is your fetish?
International. That's all.
What?
That's a preference, honey. That's not a
Yeah,
fetish.
it's a fetish. It's a fetish. What you mean? White people are any races could have fetishes with black people.
Yeah,
That's a fetish.
it's called nigger breeding.
Exactly.
Like
See,
it's called cockhole.
I have I have an international fetish. Have to be foreign. Some, whether that's first gen, it's up to 3 gen. 3rd gen is the grandparents. Yeah. 3rd gen, they have to be within that 3 gen, and then we good. Typically nice ass too. Typically.
Okay. Like,
Why were we talking about
I
no,
forgot
he
what
said he
it
had a fetish, and I'm like,
Oh,
what's your
was.
fetish?
Oh, then
And he was like international. I'm like,
ass?
what the fuck is that?
International ass.
International ass. Exactly. International
Basically,
cheeks.
what you just said is your fetish is other than black women.
No. They have to be either black or from another country. It can't be American.
I'm American.
That's why we're not fucking Penelope.
Okay. Wait, hold on. But I'm
That's
Asian,
what he was
the
saying.
but I'm Asian American. So what?
If you're 3rd gen, you're good.
But
I don't.
so not
I don't
Native
knock
American?
nobody's fetish.
So fuck Native American.
I don't really.
Like,
I don't discriminate. You know what I'm saying?
Preferences is discrimination.
Like
I agree.
preface isn't what?
It's not discrimination.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think it is either.
I believe you
Because-
believe that, and that's cool. So what's the difference between preference and discrimination?
I think preference is like, for me, I use myself as an example. I have a preference for black men, but I am not opposed to any other race of men. It's just never happened. But I'm not like, fuck white boys. I fucking hate white boys. Like, if you're a white boy, get the fuck away from me. If you're Arab, get the fuck away from me. Like, I only want, but like, I don't do that. I
It's
don't.
true, because I've been in some white men before. Some like, you know, American.
Domestic.
Yeah.
domestic breeds.
Yeah.
But that's not really saying what's the difference between preference.
It's-
and
So
discrimination.
to me, the difference. I think the difference is when it comes to like a big societal thing. Whether it's for you personally. For you personally, it's like a preference. Like nigga, I prefer eating just seafood versus any other type of meat or something like that, right? Versus like discrimination is like you can't come in this building because you're this
Yeah.
person. That's like a societal it's like a community thing, and you can't come in here because of this. Versus
I get that.
you can't come in my house personally.
Well,
versus,
then I'm equal opportunity. If your personality catch me, if the look catches me, I don't really give a shit where you from.
I mean, it wouldn't. It's not like a complete deal breaker because I agree with you
No,
on that
actually,
point.
I'm lying.
Like I said, I agree with you completely on that point. Like if you have a good personality, then we might be able to connect.
I do
like,
have a color issue.
but like there's definitely a preference, like preferably.
Yeah. I got color issues.
Makes no sense.
You mean like black white or like
Like
light skin?
if I fuck with a black chick, high yellow red bone. Right? If I fuck with a Latin chick, black as fuck. Like I do not like light skinned Latin women. You know what I'm saying? If I fuck with a white chick, be white, be all fucking white. Be transparent white. I don't want no kind of like hip hop
powdered
talk, no
donut.
urban talk. Like I want, if I deal with a white chick like cornfield farmer,
Cornfield farmer.
you know what I'm saying? Like the last white
Yes.
girlfriend I had,
Yes.
like she was as white as you could get. Irish, bright red
Saw all the
hair,
veins in her skin.
freckles. Yeah, like
God.
super white.
Like,
You know what I'm saying?
You thought I was white?
Asian,
I'm tan.
more
something.
black ass Asians, Laotian, Cambodian, you know, some,
I might have to think about that
you
one.
know, Indian.
I thought
It depends. I can do like American women from India, like they're third or better. But like when they're like fresh from India, like the spices that they eat are still really connected to home because the way curry makes pussy taste, I can't really
Wow.
fuck with that. Or tarmac.
Turmeric?
Turmeric.
Turmeric and curry gives pussy a really nasty taste to me. Like, I need you to be here in America so long that you don't even cook with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's, I'm sorry, I don't want to make it sound bad, but I don't like that shit. You know, Eskimo, I ran with some Eskimos a couple times. Dated a couple Maoris, but I don't really like fucking with Maoris or Samoans because every time I date them, like them bitches be wanting to get drunk and fighting, and they brothers and cousins be wanting to fucking fight and like wrestle. And it's like, nigga, like we're not gonna wrestle. Just enjoy the barbecue, motherfucker. Like, why are you trying to? No, come on, and man, if you don't get the fuck away from me with your big ass, fuck is you doing? You know, they're very like a warrior culture, and they're very much into some like always want to physically like slap, box, wrestle, punch, and like, man, if you don't go sit down somewhere with your drunk ass.
I've come to a conclusion. I'm not into colors. Colors is not my thing. I was sitting here thinking like maybe I do just have a color preference like par race, but nope.
Just international.
Just international.
Okay.
Black or international. Black Mexican or international.
Just not domestic.
Preferably not.
Why? Like, what is it about domestic women that are such a turnoff?
It's a particular way of thinking. it's like a
American white women are just dumb.
Ooh, that's a strong one.
But
I didn't want to say it,
agree.
but you know,
But like, I feel like it's so true, and
You know.
you know, I may not be.
But they winning.
I know I'm still white, but
third gen,
I'm first gen.
even
But
better.
coming from a foreign country and then living in America and knowing that the world does not revolve around America and that most of the majority of the planet either wants to come to America or thinks America's a fucking joke. I feel like the people who grew up here and like never left and like know nothing else and have no ties to anywhere else, like everybody who comes to America like knows there's just something different about just plain Americans, like the
It's a
way
little
they
slow.
view.
It's just a little slow. American people are just a little like I'm American though. That's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong. Born and raised, right? Like I'm probably 10th gen. Like right? Like I have never seen the motherland. If there is,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, you feel me? Like I've never gone anywhere but like America, right?
Hold on, wait a minute. You're the only motherfucker at this table from here.
Yeah.
She's first gen.
I'm
what are
first
you?
gen.
What?
What generation are you?
Is first gen the one that's like?
Like your parents
Parents-
moved here and
Oh,
you
yeah,
was
my
born here.
parents moved.
So
Yeah,
you're
first
first gen.
gen.
You're first gen. I'm second gen.
I'm the only nigga from here, baby.
Yeah.
It's all
Where are
good
you
though.
from?
I mean,
My
I-
family's
I-
from
You know,
Ghana,
motherfucker
West
that don't like
Africa.
domesticated.
I have that's the thing though. I like my like
But you're different than
that's what it comes
American
Okay,
white people.
Yeah.
to. And I'm
I
even
would
different
hope
than
so.
I'm even,
Nigga wouldn't be in my house.
I think even like sometimes I think American based people, they just don't have that broader like that minds, like it's like, you know, people think that everything again revolves around like America.
So
No.
you feel they're more ignorant.
Yeah. Just kind of like America's everything.
And
Me.
yeah, and
type
I
of
also
shit.
feel like they
nah.
lack culture.
Culture.
Like what
Huge.
what is America's dish? Burgers?
No,
Like,
It's not
See,
even
this is the
American.
difference. America does not lack culture. The dominant race in this country doesn't produce culture. There were a race of people here originally, Native Americans, right?
Yes.
There was a race of people created here, which is the African American. Genetically is different than an African. They were created here, and they created 90% of American culture
Yeah.
around the board. Fashion, music, economics, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? America got culture. It just is not white culture. White culture was imported and adapted from the white people who came here. Like Italian culture got homogenized as Italian peoples, flip gens here, Irish, and you know, it just became a kind of amalgamation of different European cultures that just became white culture. That's why it's so kind of generic and bland, is because they have been able to take their own national culture, whether it was Swedish, Irish, Italian, French, make it generic and then make it blanketed white culture.
I don't like that.
Or even Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? Like, the line between natives and Hispanics is very thin genetically. They both were here.
Yeah.
The culture that they created here is American culture. But as much as white people be on some Taco Tuesday shit, you would think they invented tacos. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah.
For real, man. Like, when you look at the groups here, every ethnic group who's been here has created a side of their culture that is unique to America, whether it's black, Hispanic, Asians, or whatever. There is something that kind of matriculates out of the generations that are born and grow up here that is roots to back home, but has become African American culture, Mexican American culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's still tied to. I feel like that is still better.
It's definitely tied to back home.
Yeah, and it's still. I feel like that's still better than that bland ass American white culture, if you can even call it culture.
Both of you. What do you refer to as home?
Hungry.
I prefer to hear.
Like, I know I refer back to Cuba like as home. I've been there many times. I ain't never fucking lived there. But in my mind, that's the root. That's where we're from. We're just here. You know
That's
what I mean?
exactly
Like,
how I look at
we're
it.
just
yeah.
here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of like first and second generation people still feel like that. Like the national connection that you have is to another country, even though you're born here.
Yeah. And I feel like, even though I do look at Hungary as my home, like if I were to go back there, I would say, oh yeah, I'm going home. But I am like pretty, I would say like Americanized at this point, and it would be hard for me to just go back and live there. I would definitely like, stay there for the summer or something if I had the opportunity, but I would never go back and live there anymore. But I still want to like uphold the culture. But it's just sad because I know that over generations, like my Hungarian nationality is going to fade within my family just because I'm going to have kids. I'm probably not going to have a Hungarian husband or a husband that speaks very fluent Hungarian unless I teach them. And then at that point, I'm going to have to either take my kids back to Hungary so they can meet the fam and pick it up the way I did, or I'm going to have to just teach them here because they do have like Hungarian like schools out here where you can just take your kid and they teach them Hungarian. But I know that, probably maybe not with my kids, maybe with my kids, like our culture is gonna fade and our tradition is gonna fade out, and then they're just gonna turn into like Americans.
Chuck London.
I don't know, man. Like,
And that is kind of inevitable though once you move here, unless you go back or unless you marry in your country, in your, it's inevitable.
I kind of see that in my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a connection to shit, but they don't have a connection to things. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little crazy.
I mean, you can only really the only way you'll upkeep it is if you spark that in them, because
they're American.
Exactly.
Like the most nationality they have is nigga, we from Richmond. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got a connection to that and nothing else.
You've never thought of like if you had the opportunity to like take them to.
I mean, I'm gonna take them back home.
Cuba.
They're gonna visit.
He's not from Cuba. Are you from Cuba?
I'm from Richmond. My family's from Cuba.
Oh,
Cuba.
I thought you were from the DR.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Nigga, she just called me a Dominican. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. But have you ever thought of taking them to Cuba?
Yeah.
Cuba.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna go. You know what I mean? I just want them to get a little older. I need some of this bullshit with the trade embargoes and all that shit and the regime. I need that shit to pan out a little more. Like when I used to go, it was different. We fly into Florida, we boat from Florida to Cuba, and it wasn't really a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole bunch of political shit going on.
Yeah,
so like,
that is also true with
you
Cuba.
know,
Do you plan on taking them everywhere? Like Mexico, Cuba, Africa?
No, I'm just gonna give them money and let them go do their thing. Cause I traveled to different countries as a teenager on my own. You know, like when I went to Costa Rica, Belize, when I lived in Toronto and all that, I was a teenager. I was out and about. I mean, my life was illegal and illicit, which was why. So I just figured, fuck it, I'll just give them money and go let them do their thing. If they make it, they make it. If not,
Wow.
But on that note, we're going to wrap this up. I would like to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for your time and attention. And we out.
See y'all.
Thank you for listening. And if you like this show and you want to help us grow, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast or just an episode that you like the most. And also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or wherever you catch us. If you would like to make a donation to the show, please go to our page at hklogic.podbean.com and become a patron of the show. If you would like to contact us, you can email us at hardknocklogic@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 510-255-4546. Again, that's 510-255-4546. And you can always catch all of our content on this network at hklogic.podbean.com. Hope you come back. Hope you give us another listen. Peace.